Hello and welcome to the 58th episode of Out of State DMing Podcast. I'm your host, Lux and joining me today is the lovely Bacon.
Oh, it's so lovely.
Because everyone loves bacon. If you don't, well, then we can't be friends.
It's very un-American of you if you don't like bacon.
Yeah, that's a very, I would say British, but I think they like bacon too. Uh, But we're gonna start off by attempting to finish the first level sorcerer/wizard spells, and we're going to be kicking it off with one of the spells that's either never used because people think it's stupid, or people constantly trying to use it incorrectly. Tensor's floating disc. This is a pretty nifty spell. It creates a 3-foot diameter horizontal disc that can hold up to 100 pounds per caster level. And if memory serves, it doesn't move by itself, so someone actually has to. Well, it might move by itself, but it has limited locomotions. And pretty much what it is a first level. I really don't want to hold a bunch of heavy crap, so I'm going to use this for the short time that the spell's active to move hundreds upon hundreds and eventually a metric ton, because it's 100 pounds per caster level, which for any adventure, that's really good. Especially when you start getting up there in levels, you're like, we don't need the super strong barbarian to carry stuff because this spell lasts this long, and we just carefully put stuff on it, and boom. You can also use it to, like, if you have a down party member and no one can really afford to drag him because there's still something trying to attack, or they're still at risk of attack, so people need to be ready to fight. Well, as the party mage, you can go, here's Tensor's floating disc, let's put them on the disc, and we can cart them around that way so no one's being hindered, so we can properly defend him more. Uh, the improper way to use it is because it's not a damage spell, it's not a combat spell, it's not an attack spell. You could technically cast it and stand on it, and pretty much be shoved over water because it'll float over water. But you cannot summon it inside an occupied space. So you pretty much can't go, I want to cut him in half. Tensor's floating disc. No, Tensor's floating disc won't appear. It needs an empty space. You can't use it to break things. It doesn't magically appear underneath someone and then lifts them up, because that counts as an occupied space. Uh, it can't really be used as a crushing mechanism to crush someone because you have someone shoved underneath it and then lower it because it won't crush them. It's not a combat spell. I use those examples because over my years of playing, people have literally tried to get in arguments about how stupidly powerful this. I'm just going to kill stuff by having it summoned in the same space as them. Because as cool as it is to have a instant kill effect, one, it's a first level spell, and two, it's only supposed to carry stuff for you. It's not a combat spell. You can call it a utility spell, but that's pretty much it. It's meant to help solve weight related problems, not combat problems. Uh, and I am happy Bacon is
Combat
having.
spell if you're brave enough.
The floor's lava. Don't worry, that's just floating disc. Yeah, I'm just happy Bacon hasn't gone, can I use this to behead people? It's like, no, you
And
can't.
realistically, I can. And if not, I'll find a way.
Yeah, it's think outside the box. Because again, the spell itself, it can't be used as the means of beheading, but it doesn't mean you can't play someone on it and then have their head sticking off and then have something heavy drop on their head. Because if you think outside the box, there's probably ways you and your DM can work out to having a spell aid in the demise of your opponents, but not as a direct. This is going to cause the downside of your enemy spell. More details when we cover the spell itself in a future episode. The next spell is a spell that I actually rarely see used. Color Spray. The main reason it's rarely used is because it's a level 1 spell, so unless you have a bunch of different feats or a high stat, the DC to resist it is really pretty easy because it starts out at a base 11 modified by your stat. So a lot of things just don't care because they can pass it, even though there's always that spot where something's going to fail, so why not use it? And Color Spray can either knock unconscious, blind, and or stun 1d6 weak creatures. When we cover the spell itself, what it determines as a weak creature, we'll be able to go over, but you can affect up to 6 creatures with it, and it can, like I said, knocks unconscious, blinds, and or stuns. So there's three different things that could happen to 1 to 6 creatures. At level 1, that having a spell that affects multiple targets is always great. And when you get higher enough level, the DC is going to be higher because you're higher in stat, so it's going to be a little bit better. Because you're not always going to be constantly fighting something equal to or higher than the party average level. There's going to be times where, like, here's like 20 goblins trying to kill you. Well, those are atypically weak creatures, so let's just mess up a die 6 worth of them. And I don't believe you ever got into Color Spray.
No, color spray was one of those things where I was kind of,
On
I
the
was a little
fence.
iffy about looking about it anytime I looked at it. So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't completely understand this. Let me avoid it for now.
Yeah, and if you avoid a spell due to lack of understanding of the spell, that makes sense to me because it's the unknown. Let's not mess with the unknown. Let's stick with what we're known. Unless you feel like
Right,
making changes.
it's not like I can't ask or try to figure it out, but it's one of those things where it's like, this seems like one of those spells where I definitely need to have a degree to fucking understand it without, actually understanding it completely.
Yeah, and again, it makes sense. Because even though I like my mages to have a wide array of different spells to use, I like it when they're using spells they feel comfortable using because they'll actually use it versus a spell that, yeah, they have it, but they're not comfortable with it, so why would they use it? It's like having 3 different pencils. You're going to use the pencil you're comfortable using, even though you know the other 2 work. You're you just prefer the cut of this one's chip. It's like this is my second favorite mechanical pencil. I use the other one in my Thursday game, and I use this one when I'm doing writings here. I love this one. Now, when I say I have more, I have more, but I haven't used those ones in years. It's because I'd rather use the one I'm more comfortable with using, which happens to be this one and that one. And spells work the same way. It's kind of like the next spell. It's probably an overused spell until people realize that they're somehow managed to somehow use it incorrectly. Disguise self. It changes your appearance.
Yeah.
You can use it to look like a different race, someone of a different gender. You can use it to alter your outfits, and you can use it to make yourself look a wee bit bigger or a wee bit smaller, a wee bit skinnier, a wee bit heavier, within I think like a 10% margin of your actual height and weight. So if you're trying to look like a particular race that's known for being really tall, and you're a halfling, the best you can pull off is a child of that race. Because like orcs can get up to 6 feet and tall. They're relatively, well, or half orcs, they're relatively tall uh, breed of creatures. So try a halfling trying to go, I'm going to look like a half orc. The best they can pull off is a child. Because halflings, at like the tallest halfling I can think can get is like around 3 feet. It's one of the reasons why they can be easily confused as human children because they're tiny. So them trying to disguise themselves as a half elf doesn't necessarily half elf, a half orc doesn't fully work unless they're trying to look like a child. Because if they're trying to go for the child route, then yes, it's going to work because well, they can literally use it to look like a child. But what it doesn't actually let you do, and this is a confusion because yes, there is people of not college grade intelligence that play D&D. I'm not trying to call them out, kind of am, or try and say it's everyone, but there's a lot of people that confuse disguise self with something that lets you use items that are restricted to certain races. Because yes, I've had to deal with those people. Like a human going, I'm going to disguise self as an elf, so therefore I can use this weapon that only elves can use. It's like, you can't use the weapon. Why? Well, it's a magical weapon that can only be wielded by those of elven blood. But I'm disguised as an elf. You're not an elf. You're not changed as an elf. Those who look at you see an elf, but you're not an elf. And the item knows that because you have to have the blood of an elf, which technically means half elves can use it, non elves can't use it. Or they're like, I want to be proficient with a dwarven Urgosh, so I'm going to disguise self as a dwarf, so now I have the proficiency. It's like, no, you don't gain racial traits with disguise self. Because all it is a disguise. So if you was watching this going, wait, do people actually do that? You play this game long enough, you'll find people that don't understand the game. And all you can do is just do your best to survive it. Yeah. I so don't have PTSD from this game.
PTSD doesn't develop from D&D. Traumatic friendships too.
I'm pretty sure you play
La-
long enough, you'll get PTSD because someone does something. It's like, I got a few stories
I'm
that will
not.
make you go, oh dear God, why?
I'm. I'm not saying I have PTSD. I'm just saying that sometimes when the dragon looks at me a little funny, I get nervous.
Roll for Constitution.
Roll that fortitude saving throw. I don't want to.
Oh
My
God! Quick little
fortitude.
tide tangent. Because this is a true story. In one of my past games, the party was trying to not get eaten by a dragon toad. Well, for those who don't know what dragon toads are, they look like just big toads with little wings, but they're dragons. And they can get really big. So when a gargantuan dragon toad is like, I'm probably just gonna eat you guys because I'm hungry and you're here. The party convinces it's like, if I make you laugh, will you let us go? And I went, yeah, you know what? Fine. If this isn't funny, you're going to horrifically regret this. And he does one of the stupidest jokes ever. What is a fish with no eyes?
What?
Shh. This fish. Fish.
Uh. uh
You remove the I from the spelling
what?
and you pronounce it with no I. Do you not get it? Bacon, are you? Just
Technical
awkward.
difficulties. Technical difficulties.
The
I
what?
disconnected. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had
Um.
technical difficulty.
Yeah. We'll just say that. Like I said, it was a joke. Is what's a fish with no eyes? You remove the and you go what? And you just remove the eye from fish. So instead of fish, it's fish.
God damn it.
And it caught everyone off guard. Like, what? And it was more funny because he thought it would work than the actual joke. Uh, so I got him back by going, okay, yeah, the party gets to leave except for you. Why? Dragon Code picks you up and pulls you back into her lair.
It was
Yeah.
her. Oh,
Uh,
oh, she's feeling feisty.
oh yeah, she was real feisty. Especially when later on in the campaign, she showed up again and went, "Hey, you're jerking your responsibilities." He's like, "What responsibilities? Here's eight half dragon toads.
Oh,
Take your
oh,
kids for a while. I'm gonna go and go actually sleep." Dragon toads are quite chaotic in nature and prone to being assholes.
mm,
So he
I
had to
need dragon toads in
take
my next campaign.
So he had to cart around for the entire adventure 8 half dragon children, trying to do everything he can to keep them under control and keep them alive while the party does other crap because he knew that if anything bad happens to these kids, it's a full-grown dragon toad that's going to show up. And if you thought having 8 kids, half dragon kids around being obnoxious, I really don't feel like being digested in that stomach. So it was real funny for a while. But moving on, so that way we don't get too sidetracked for the entire episode. The next spell is Nestle's Magic Aura. This is a decent spell, but it either is used and misunderstood or just not used because people don't care. What it does is it alters an object's magical aura. So you can cast it on an item that gives off like illusion based things and make it give off evocation. So people think it's gonna it's like, oh, this wand is giving off evocation stuff, so it must be like a wand of burning hands or shocking grass. When in reality, it's silent image. Because
You imagine doing that and they think they're it just the silent image is just burning hands.
yeah, it's like literally you can end up doing that. It's like, here's this burning hands. The person just somewhat, when they're not looking, because it's activates it. Why is it not? It's not killing him. What's wrong with his burning hands?
Why is it not making noise? Why
Why is
is
it
it
quiet?
quiet?
Why is nothing being caught on fire? What's wrong with it? It's like, oh, I gave you the wrong one. That's silent image. It's like you can use it to hide what magical items you actually have on you because if like people are trying to look for particular auras like transportation auras or necromancy auras coming from magical items, and you're like, well, I want to get this book through this area because this is a very important book, but it's a book of necromancy. So it has the aura of necromancy stuff. That's what they're looking for. So you alter it to make it give off illusion aura, which is going to make them go, okay, it's a book of illusions. Illusions go on. Or they're not even going to get that far. They're just going to go, oh, illusion of, well, not the aura we're looking for. Boom. You can use it to alter your bag of holding. So instead of people thinking you have a bag of holding, like you have a bag of something else because there's different bags that have different auras because they do different things than what the bag of holding has. So now no one's going to think it's a bag of holding because it's not giving off the right aura. So you can use it to mess with your party members, get around NPCs trying to get stuff, or if a DM's feeling frisky, they can use it to make people think items they're getting are a certain nature. So therefore, the party goes, yeah, this is obviously this, uses it. Oh, it's not. So you can get the funny laugh on your party. Uh, the next spell is Silent Image. Now, the main thing I don't like about illusion magics is more of the fact that people either never use them or they do things have them be used in ways that obviously defeats the purpose of the illusion. The silent image, it creates a minor illusion of your design. Okay, bam. But if you first say go, this area doesn't have access to mahogany, so you use silent image to make this door look like it's a mahogany door. Even though there's like no real door there. You just want it to look like there's a door, so you describe it as it's a mahogany door. If it's common knowledge that there's no mahogany, entities are going to go, what is that door made out of? It's obviously an expensive door. It's obviously a unique door. So they're going to examine the door. And the moment they touch it, because this will happen if you don't believe me, players do this crap all the time because they go, they just want to touch stuff. Even if it's like, okay, yes, you now have a curse. Delusions of being immortal now. So they'll touch it, and if you interact with the physical illusion, you automatically succeed on a will saving throw because it's a physical interaction. It's not fully there. So when your hand goes through it, you go, oh, it's not a real door. Someone's trying to hide something here. Or because people just go, oh, we're going to be fighting constructs and undead mainly, so we're not going to use illusion spells because those aren't going to auto-fail against constructs and undead. And it's like, I never said anything about constructs and undead. Did someone lie? Because they, unless it's randomly rolled on this list, you're not fighting those things. So it's like I said, it's either used slightly incorrectly because it's now doing something obvious that makes the item or the image look like it's not supposed to be there, or they're just assuming enemy types and never using it. And it's never the whole, it's a level 1 spell, which means it has a low DC to actually beat it. It's never that. It's, we're going to make it too obvious that it's an illusion, or just assume it's not going to work. Period. Due to creature typing. Which I hate both of those.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah. I love you as a mage because at least you're like, hey, can this work like this? No. But what if we do it like this? Then will it work? It's like, wow, you're actually thinking on how to make a spell do something it's not technically supposed to be able to do. Thank you for actually having a actual IQ level that's not room temperature. It's like the next spell, Franquiloquism. Ventriloquism. Yeah, that's a tough word for me to pronounce. It lets you throw your voice.
Ventriloquism.
It lets you throw your voice for 1 minute per caster level, so you can have your voice be at a distance away. That's
Right.
that's pretty good because you're like, okay, I kind of don't want to yell. And those party members are too far away for me to whisper. So and they're this far away. Well, I'm gonna activate Ventriloquism, and I just mispronounced it again. So that way, my voice is now emanating from where the party is, and I'm gonna give them information. because my voice isn't where I'm at, it's being projected over there. So therefore, I can actually communicate with the party and have everyone hear it without actually having to travel that distance for any reason while you're trying to hide from a monster, not make it obvious that you're tracking someone, or just trying to quickly and easily get information from spot A to spot B without overly revealing that you're doing it. You can use this spell. Do you know how many campaigns I've been in and ran where this spell was used?
Probably not many.
Zero. I've never once ran across a player
Well,
who used this spell.
no, in our Friday campaign I took that, didn't I? Because I was using I would no, I was
No.
using I used a different one.
Yeah, use different spells. Um, because it's not a bad spell. It's just when you have options to have other spells that do what you want, you don't need to think out of the box for other spells. This is one of the spells that for communication, there is easier spells to do. There's other spells to do because this one is for whoever happens to hear it within that radius. But this is a very good spell to distract enemies because if you're being looked for by enemies, you get the spell to project your voice all the way over there. The enemies are gonna go, oh, they're trying to whisper and be careful over there. So the enemies go over there, and then you go, haha, and you just bolt because you're not where the enemies are now.
Yeah.
So it's like it has its uses, but I've never actually seen it used by a player or even by a monster being used by the DM. Now, I do have one of my favorite monsters does mimic this ability, uh, and it's always funny because people like start looking in one direction, thinking there's going to be something coming from that direction, and then suddenly a big, massive lizard comes from the flank and grabs someone and runs off with them. This no one says "got ya" like a several hundred-pound lizard throwing its voice, so you literally aren't looking where it's at. Uh, the next spell is a spell that has been taken, has been used, has been utilized in multiple ways, but it has easily started arguments and complaints because people think it either works completely different than how they want it to. Well, they think it's, yeah, it works differently from how they want it to, or they just get upset that what they're using it on isn't affected by it. It's Cause Fear. Cause Fear is a very effective spell, but it has one major flaw. It only works on creatures up to 5 hit die, which means there's a cutoff point. And if you're fighting an overpowerful entity, Cause Fear just won't work because like you can guarantee it's like we're all level 15. This is something that's a CR 16. It's gonna have more than 5 hit die. Because if it has less than 5 hit die and you're fighting it at that level, it's either A, the CR was horrifically done wrong, B, it's somehow game breaking, or C, you're fighting something beneath your pay grade. Because when you get to a certain level, things of a certain on encounters of a certain CR don't matter anymore because they're not a challenge and you don't get XP for it. Excuse me. But Cause Fear is still really, really good because it's one creature of 5 hit die or less flees for 1 die 4 rounds. And that's another reason why a lot of people think it works differently than how it does because they think it's going to sit there and cower and whine. No, it tries to flee for 1 to 4 rounds, where it tries to vacate the area as fast and as quickly as possible, in the most direct way as possible to get away from you. Not hide in a corner. It only hides in a corner if it's trapped, if it cannot go away from you. Not automatically runs and hides in the corner. So you can buy yourself 1 to 4 rounds of that one creature not being a problem before the spell wears off and it comes back to go Now I'm definitely throwing hands. So it still is a very good spell. But most of the time I've seen it used has been on creatures that automatically pass because they have too many hit dice for the spell to work, or people getting pissed off because all it does is make the target flee for a little bit because they think it lasts a lot longer and affects more powerful creatures than what it does. Completely forgetting the rule of thumb for spells are the lower the level of the spell, the weaker the spell technically is. Now, it's not technically a horrible spell because it's a first level spell. It just means it has the limitations of a first level spell. There is higher versions of fear. They can have more effectiveness, primarily because it's a higher level spell. But people do fall into the trap of forgetting that level 1 spells are just that, level 1. There's a reason why you want to be able to cast level 2 spells, and then level 3, and then level 4, and then level 5, and then level 6, and so on. Because like, you get better spells. You get spells that actually do what you want, or more like they work more like you think they should, because they're allowed to be that way. Uh, the next spell is a spell not commonly taken as well, and it's Chill Touch. This spell is a touch spell that you get when you cast it. You get to utilize it a number of times equal to your level, but it's like one. You only get to use it like once per turn. So the higher level you are, the more turns you can use it. It does a die 6 of damage and has a chance of causing 1 point of strength damage. Now, the strength damage of 1 may not seem very good. The fact that it's a possibility, not a guarantee, may not seem very good. But any spell that targets a stat is good. Doesn't matter if it's for a single low digit number, or you're rolling a die for it. Having the opportunity to remove a strength point from an entity is big, because for every 2 points they lose, or if they go from an even number to an odd number, they lose a modifier. So even if you only move like 1 point, there's a chance that it goes from even to odd, which means they just lost a +1 to hit and damage for melee attacks. If you keep on succeeding, it goes lower and lower and lower. So besides being able to do damage, there's a chance of just weakening the creature. And that should be something a lot of people like. Because again, the big, scary, strong monster can't hurt you that much if it doesn't have a strength score to actually hurt you with. Then we have a spell that people think it's the best spell well, not the best spell, but one of the best spells possible until it's used on them. Ray of Enfeeblement.
Get crippled, Grandpa.
Pretty much. Uh, what the spell does, it's a ray, so you actually have to hit them with it. It deals a die 6 +1 per 2 cast levels strength damage. Right there, you can cripple with just one casting so many creatures with it. And it doesn't matter if it's a low level creature or a high level creature. The only difference is their ACs and their saving throws they get to resist spells. That's the only actual differences. But being able to go, hey, yeah, Ray of Enfeeblement, which because it has a random factor on it, you can do maximize, and you can also use Empower. So at minimum, with just those two things there, you can do 9 strength damage. not counting your actual caster levels, which means if done correctly, you can one-shot any living creature. Because Ray Enfeeblement, like undead aren't going to care about it, and constructs aren't going to care about it. But then again, any living creature is going to go, you chinky butt waffle. Now, why do I say one shot? Is because when a strength score reaches 0, the creature dies. When a strength score reaches a certain point, it no longer has the physical strength to carry the equipment it has on it. So if you look at like a big strong creature that's wearing full plate, has a big shield and a big weapon, if you reduce their strength enough, their AC is going to suffer because their light load, medium load, and heavy load switches. So they can go there. They get reduced speed, and if you can get it to a certain point, they end up pretty much being immobile or moving so slow that they're only getting like 5 feet a turn at best. On top of the fact that they're just not enjoying life because they're not going to be able to do much, especially because that big old strength bonus is going away relatively quickly. So this is one of the spells that stays pretty valid from like start of the game to late game, because as long as you can hit the target and they fail the corresponding check, you can literally strip them of their strength. So like I said, it can there's just it's one of those spells that has a tipping point between I'm just going to irritate the monsters to I'm making them suffer to here's the tipping point to they're dead. Just like, for instance, a level 20 wizard casting a spell is doing a d6 plus 10. If he maximizes it, it's 16. If he empowers it, that's another 8 being added to it because of empower. So it's like, here's 24 strength you're losing. There is a laundry list of creatures that die because they don't have a high enough strength. And then there's a big list of creatures that, okay, I'm going to survive it, but now I'm not going to actually be able to do anything to you because I lost 24 points of strength. So, like, a dragon doesn't seem so powerful because, like, yeah, you have a high strength. You're a big bad dragon. Maximize empowered ray of enfeeblement. Yeah, now you don't have such a high strength. Enjoy not actually hitting me, or if you do, not actually damaging me. Enjoy life. So that spell has great means of tomfoolery. The next spell is Animate Rope. You can make a rope move at your command. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you can have it form a noose and hang someone by just tightening around their neck, because again, it's not a combat spell, but you can use it to have a rope scale a wall and tie itself off, so now you can climb up the wall. You can have it coil itself up, making it easier for you to pick up and walk with it. So that you can probably, with as long as you're following the guidelines of the spell, you can probably get away with murder using Animate Rope. But it is one of the spells that I don't really see used often, because the only real people that use it are like, I'm going to use Animate Rope so that way I can just have it go and angle itself there so I can just climb this there. And it's like, yay, it's not going to be used anymore because they either get flying or someone else has flying. So it's like, well, I got to get rid of this spell. So with the right application, the spell can be used throughout the entire campaign, because you never know when you're going to be able to, when you're going to need to have a rope act differently. One of the meanest, cruelest things that I've ever seen anyone do from it was a party member getting upset at most of the party, getting to the other side of a gorge that they used a rope to get people across, and then using animate rope on the other side to have that end undo itself so the people on the rope fall down and some will fail their checks to hold on and then fall to their death because he got pissed off at the party, and making it look like whoever tied the rope on that end didn't tie it correctly. So you can use it to detriment the entire party, but you again have to do it in ways that, well, my recommendation is don't get caught by the party using any spell that causes direct or indirect harm to another party member. Because it's real easy to get someone metagaming because you use a spell that killed their character. And their new character has no idea it happened. I've seen that stuff happen before. I don't recommend you do anything that's going to get you any sort of backlash at that, because they get away with metagaming because you're the bad guy. So if you're going to be the bad guy, either fully embrace it and go full bore with it, or try to do it in a way that literally can't be used against you in the court of law. The next spell is a spell that people keep confusing exactly what it does, and it's Enlarge Person. What do you think Enlarge Person does?
It's pretty obvious. It enlarges a person.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, you would assume pretty obvious. The humanoid creature, keyword humanoid, doubles in size. So you take your height and you double it. You take your weight and you double it. The creature's that big. So someone 6 foot is now 12 foot. If he weighed like 210 pounds, now he's 420 pounds, because the spell doubles those things there. Even though technically the weight would be actually quite higher, because it's not just height that get it. Real life mathematics on size stuff is weird. But it gives some bonuses to strength and con, penalty to dexterity. You get reach, because as a tall large creature, you get reach. So yeah, you can reach a little bit farther. You get the size penalty to -1 to attack rolls and AC, and a -4 to all height checks. A lot of people assume that that spell works exactly as if you're doing a normal size scaling for a creature. This spell gives like a +4 to your strength and con, -2 to dex. But a normal creature going from size from size medium to size large, for instance, if you're trying to do a large size version of a human as a legit grocers, the strength bonus is +8. A lot of people assume they get that +8 because they're a large size version of their normal. It's like, no, you get what the spell gives you. The spell tells you what you get. Don't look at other sources. Look at what the spell gives you. If the spell does not dictate that you actually get something other than, yay, you're bigger, then look at other sources. Then try to figure out what you get for a size increase. But the spell tells you what you get. And there's a lot of people that assume that you get, because it's a enhancement spell, a enchantment spell, a boost spell, that it gets no penalties whatsoever. Which means you don't get the -1 to AC and attack rolls for being large size. A lot of people go, I shouldn't get that because I'm getting the spell. It says it right there in the spell that you get that. Then there's the problem
Yeah,
of,
some people like to just whine. Let's be real.
yeah, that's really all they want to do. Uh, but then there's the fact that, what was the word I said was a keyword?
Yep.
Yeah, humanoid.
Yeah, you're right. Humanoid.
Yeah, if a creature is not a humanoid, the spell automatically fails. It can work on monstrous humanoids. That's the big lip there. But it has to be an actual human, not humanoid shaped. For instance, a mind flare is humanoid shaped. It is not a humanoid. And brain stop working. So that there's a bundle of creatures that are humanoid shaped. Like, for instance, one of the creatures I use in my personal campaign is a humanoid dragon. They're medium sized creatures. Yes, they have a tail. Yes, they have a wing. Yes, they actually look like dragon people. They're not humanoids. Their typing is draconic. Not human draconic, not draconic humanoid. Draconic. Meaning, enlarged person does not work on it. Another one of my favorite races is a large sized beetle person. They are listed as an aberration, not a monstrous humanoid. So there's things that it does not work on. And you can argue that DM's prerogative can change those things because it's DM prerogatives, but there are certain things that it obviously does not work on. Mainly because there's a other version of that spell that does what you want because it's supposed to, but you cannot cast Enlarged Person on your horse. Because what is your horse?
looks it looks very humanoid to me.
It's like you go ahead, cast disguise self on the horse to make it look like a person. No, it's it'll look like a big naked person trying to walk on all fours. No.
Well, nay, nay, daddy.
Nay. Uh,
I'm very nay for you.
hey.
Straight to
Got
jail.
plenty of hey to you. Stranger danger. Um, but no, you can't cast it on your horse because it's an animal, not a humanoid. You can't cast it on your familiar because it's not a humanoid. It's like even if you go out of the way to get like
Now
an
hold
imp
on.
familiar.
Is it not possible to have a familiar that's humanoid?
The if you want to get technical, the closest you're gonna get would fall under the preview of an outsider, like an imp. Is technically humanoid shaped, but is not a humanoid. It is a evil outsider, an extraplanar creature. Large person doesn't work on it. You cannot have a human being, an elf, a gnome as a familiar. They don't qualify at all. And there's nothing that makes them qualify
You
at
mean to
all.
tell me I can't use dominate on them and make them
It's not a
familiar?
familiar at that point. Because
It's
that goes a different route of shenanigans.
it's not like I haven't done it before, but still, that's not the point.
Well, yeah, it's not the point, but it's not a familiar at that point, so it doesn't serve it there. But things that are counted as familiars don't have the right typing. So if it doesn't have the
That
right typing,
I'm hearing a lot of I'm not gonna let you have fun with this.
well, a big thing that people keep forgetting is read the spells. If you like, hey, I like this spell, it doesn't really do what I want. Check the other spells. Like if you want your horse to be enlarged, enlarge animal is a legit spell. So check.
But what if I don't want? What if I don't want that spell? What if I want enlarge humanoid
Well, that's what
or enlarge person?
enlarged persons for. It's for humanoids.
But what if I want to use it on my horse?
Well, you can't use enlarged. I hate you sometimes. You can't use enlarged person on the horse
But why?
because it's again the spell affects humanoids. It's not a human.
But why
It's not a
is
humanoid. It not person. You treat
person good or pony bad?
yes, pony bad, person good. But yeah, it's people thinking the spell does more than what it does, as does cause people to never use the spell again or keep assuming it does what it does until the DM finally says, fine, you can do it like that. Because there is players that will try to brute force a spell to do what it wants by continuously assuming it's going to do what it wants, regardless of what the DM says.
So you mean if I cast enlarge person on my horse 150 times, you'll finally let it go?
No, no, I'm going to have your character suffer mental degradation because that's literally the definition of insanity. It's not working. It's not working. I expect it to do what I want, but it's doing the same thing, which is not what I want it to do. So
I
after a
don't I don't
certain
see a problem here.
point, it's like, okay, for every 10 times you try to enlarge your horse, you're going to take a permanent -1 to your intelligence score.
Yes. I'm gonna have negative score by the time we're done.
For every 2 points of intelligence lost, you now suffer a permanent 1 point of charisma loss because your character is slowly going crazy. And it's permanent, non-reversible. So no matter what, that's points are gone
This
forever.
this sounds like I could turn myself into the mad wizard locked in the tower.
Yeah, but eventually you'll won't be able to cast the spell because once you're as a wizard, once your intelligence reaches 10, you can't cast first level spells because you have to remember your in order to cast a spell, your score has to equal to or greater than 10 plus the spell level. So first level spell, you need 11 or higher. So after a certain point, you can't cast it
This here
anymore.
magic wand says I could still do it.
Yeah, but then you get to a point where you're not able to use the wand because you don't know how this wand works anymore.
Listen, you're fighting a losing battle. I will find a way.
You keep saying that, but it's gonna be why does his characters start out as mages but then always end up as barbarians? Why? Because he's trying to get break the DM and let them do this. That's not supposed to work. That's why you always
why
end up with
why
low IQ, low charisma characters because the DM's like
why is his
insanity
character
time.
sitting why is his character sitting in a corner drooling on himself?
Because he casts enlarged person on a horse 217 times. What does that mean? The DM was nice and let him keep his intelligence and charisma as one, so he's
He's quite literally an idiot.
gets to a point where all future characters like, okay, because I know it's gonna go this way. The highest your character's intelligence and charisma can be, it's going to be 12. Why? Because you're going to get there one way or another, so I'm just going to start you off there.
I'm just gonna start you low now. If
Yeah.
we start there, maybe you'll catch on.
Yeah, and every time you do anything to increase those stats, you have to beat a DC 20 will saving throw. Because your character's just too stupid to get smarter.
You know that'd be the time I would roll a nat 20 every single time.
Yeah, yes, just for you to do sessions later going, well, my intelligence is back down to 12. What did you do? I cast enlarged person on my horse 40 times. So you just undid all that. So now you can't cast any of the spells we want you to cast. Exactly. So I'm gonna wait till I have a
That
few
sounds
more
like a
spare
you
points.
problem.
I'm gonna wait till I have a few more points. Points. Then I'm gonna turn that you problem into not a problem. That's definitely a you problem. Why does he tolerate you? Because he thinks it's funny. That's why the DM does it. Because he's entertaining the stupidity by having fun with it instead of just going, yeah, stop playing in my games. Because he finds it hilarious. It's like beating the dead horse, but the horse refuses to die. And you're using and you're using a foam bat, not a
What?
Nerf foam bat because those will hurt. Just an actual foam bat that you have to occasionally get a new one because you somehow break the bat.
It's like beating somebody with a wet noodle.
Eventually, they just go, I'm just gonna leave. Then he's using a wet noodle to beat that dead horse. Is anyone gonna tell him that it's a statue? No. Is that how
That's
dumb he
fucked
is?
up.
Yes. Is anyone gonna tell him it's not a wet noodle but a string? No. Why is his
he
place always
really,
damp? He's drool.
he really wants that to be a wet noodle.
It's like he really, really wants that to be a wet noodle. Oh, God, we're stupid.
But fun. That's the difference.
Well, I mean, if you're
We're
having
having
fun
fun
and no
with.
one's getting hurt, go for it. Because
You
it's
mean
all.
to tell me if I start hurting the party, that's when we have to draw the line? That's bullshit.
Yes, yes, because the moment you start destroying the fun and entertainment for the masses, is where it's like, no, no, no. This,
Oh, so it was okay when that certain person destroyed the fun for us.
I
That
let
was
you guys do
acceptable.
what again?
I said it when that one person was ruining the fun for us. That was acceptable. But when I do it, it's a problem.
But
You
it
know who I'm
wasn't
talking about.
acceptable. That's why we got rid of him.
I wasn't just talking about him either. But the other problem got rid
Oh,
of herself.
yeah, it's like the that sorted itself out. God, I hope they don't watch
Yeah,
this
if I only knew
episode.
if I only knew it would only take one word, I would have said it sooner.
Yeah. Speaking of words,
Uh,
the next spell is erase. You can
oh,
mundane or magical writing vanishes. Not like, oh, it's now invisible. No, you can literally look at a wizard spellbook when he's not paying attention, cast erase right there in front of him. So as he's studying his spells, so he has spells for the day, the spells disappear because he no longer has the needed page for that spell to do it. So he's like, "Oh dear God, what the hell is happening?" Ah, freak out. Or you like, snag his spell book in the middle of the night during your watch, and you cast erase every other page, or at
oh,
least
that's a
take a
dick
few
move.
pages. Yeah, it is a dick move. Has people done it? Yes. Have I literally seen a player go, I want to buy all this. Okay, why are you buying 10 scrolls of. It's a secret. I want to surprise the party. It's like, oh, you douche. 10 scrolls of
See,
erase, 2 wands of
see that
erase,
that's
race. So it's like,
that's definitely a me thing. I'm not even gonna lie.
it's like,
That's something I would do.
it's like, why are you buying so many? Because I'm a fighter and I only have a +5 on my use magical device, so I'm bound to fail a lot.
I'm about to fail this a few times before I get it
So
right.
it's like, okay, so you bought the 2 wands and the 10 scrolls. Yes, and I'm going to start with the scrolls, then go through the wands. Oh, okay. 104 rolls later, how many did he get? Did he actually beat? 7. How many times? How many? I mean, how bad did the campaign just crash after that? A lot, because he did it. Because in his wizard spellbook, a spell takes up a number of pages equal to its level. So a level 9 spell takes up 9 pages. And if one of those pages gets damaged, removed, erased, the person can't prep that spell anymore because he's missing that page. Now, when the party spends all its money to get all this stuff, so they no longer have the funds to replace the now missing, well, the soon to be missing things for the wizard, and the fighter goes, we're about ready to, when we're About ready to enter the dungeon that we can't leave until we finish it, right? Yeah. I start slowly implementing my plan. They get in the dungeon. He's on watch. No one's mistrusting him. He gets the Wizard Spellbook. He spends pretty much his entire watch trying to do this. He erases one page for 7 of the ninth level spells the wizard spent all his money on. With the exception of Fireball. He erased one of those first because it takes 3 pages. He removed the last page, and that's what he did for all of them. He didn't do page 1 for the spell, the middle spell. No, the last one. So he would get through all of them. It's like, hey, page is missing. What do you mean? There's just a blank page there. So I can't prep Wish. No. What about this spell? No, because the last page missing. I screwed it. How many spells? 7 spells. 6 of your ninth level spells. That's all of my ninth level spells. Yep. So you no longer have ninth level spells. I spend the next hour digging through my book. Fireball is also randomly missing it. What? So my primary spell I use and the spells I wanted to use are no longer there? Exactly. So if you want to use ninth level spells, you have to use meta magic feats to bump a spell up to a ninth level. He got away with it because no one thought to even ask him, because like he's the fighter who has a 13 charisma and nothing in use magical device. There's no way he could have pulled this off. So literally,
And it was him.
the 2 sorcerers got blamed for it. Because, and I quote, we know both of you have erased because you guys went out of your way to get erase. So we know you have it. So
Oh,
why
that
are
was
you
sneaky,
lying?
and I like it. That is sneaky. I
Uh,
respect that.
yeah, I stopped respecting it because that game session ended in a fist fight.
I respect it even more because it ended in a fist fight.
Yeah, because the 2 individuals that were being blamed didn't like being blamed because it wasn't them. The person who did it took it so far as at the end of the game session when people lives, he swung at one of the sorcerers.
Why?
Because he got so pissed off that he pissed off this from what he thought is okay. This person obviously erased a bunch. We made 7 of my spells now inoperable. We don't have the money to replace them. We don't have the ability to replace them because we're trapped in this dungeon. So the spells that were supposed to get us through the dungeon, we no longer have because he erased them, and he's denying it, getting obscenely offensive in the verbiage he's using to defend himself. So it escalated to nothing actually getting done that game session and him waiting in the parking lot. So when he came out, he swung at him and did then get arrested by cops for attempting to assault and battery and banned from a gaming store for literally trying to ambush someone on the outside. So when I say it's all fun and games until people start getting hurt, if you're going to be a dick and fuck with party members, there's a line you need to not cross, which is, hey, this started in someone literally getting arrested over a game. It may be somewhat funny, maybe somewhat entertaining, but a person got in actual legal trouble because of it. So you may have
That sounds like a him problem.
that sounds like a him problem. So it's like you may have someone like mad respect for props that he got away with literally screwing over a party member, and then got away with it literally getting blamed with someone else. But it did tank the entire campaign because no one wanted to play anymore except for him. Because he's like, I can still clear the dungeon because I don't need those spells. Oh, I can't clear it because I can't do it by myself. New campaign? It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a written apology, not to them, but to me, because fuck you. Because that is a stupid spell,
Yeah,
and when I say it got people in legal trouble and cost an entire pain, yeah, it can happen. And there's going to be people out there that, while they see this or not, are going to just do that with Erase because they think it's funny. They think it's entertaining. They think screwing over party members is fun and the right thing to do. Uh, but that being said, we have a few more spells to cover before we end the episode. So, the next spell is Expeditious Retreat. People try to treat it as haste. It's not haste.
it's haste for running away.
Yeah, it increases your base land speed by 30 feet. So it's like, okay, yeah, it mimics portion of haste, but it doesn't give you additional attack as part of 4 out of attacks. It doesn't give you a +1 to AC. It doesn't give you +1 to reflex saving throws. It doesn't give you a +1 to your attack rolls. When we cover the details of the spell itself, we can go over what additional bonuses you get, but the primary thing is your speed increases by 30 feet. The entire part of the spell is mainly getting away, or technically trying to get to a location faster so you can try to save a life. But big thing is speed. There's been plenty of people that I've had to deal with who cast Expeditious Retreat and literally treat like they're under the effects of haste. Which, like, that's not what it does. And it's not just the people casting that do that. There's a person who casts it, thinking it's going to work normally, and then the person that casts it on treats it like they've been hit with haste. When it's like, no, don't. Bad monkey. Uh,
When your monkey's bad, do you spank it?
with a slotted spatula.
Oh God.
Or a cheese grater. Uh, the next spell is Featherfall. Object When objects or creatures fall slowly. This pretty much what it does is for the duration of the spell, you don't take full damage. So you can jump off the top of the mountain trying to go as far as you can. As with slow fall, you're going to get to the bottom a lot slower than someone who didn't have it, obviously. But as long as the spell lasts, you don't have to actually worry about taking the damage. Because that's the entire point of the spell. To stop people from plummeting to their death. Because falling, no matter if you're using the rules for the books or a house ruling for it, falling sucks. Full out sucks. It just it it's horrible. It kills people. So Featherfall negates all of that pretty much. So it's a really good spell. And also, speaking of jumping off of things, there's the spell Jump. Subject gains bonus on jump checks. This spell I've only really seen used when there's been lots of emphasis on you guys all have horrible jumps. You need to spell Jump in order to actually, have a chance of passing these DCs. Otherwise, you're not making these jumps. Because I think it's like a +5 or something like that to your jump rolls, which any bonus is a good bonus. So why is it +1 or a +1,000,000? Anything that increases your chance of success is a good spell. Jump is one of them, but Jump is also one of the spells that people don't go for because they either think that they're never going to have to do a jump, or that they're overconfident in what they have. It's the same thing for some of the few magical items, like the Ring of Jumping that gives like a +5 to jump checks, or the improved Ring of Jumping that gives like +10 to jump checks. There's people that go, oh, this is a useless, stupid ring, and they get rid of it, or they just throw it somewhere and forget about it because they think it's a stupid magical item, because they think the spell is stupid. But when I look at the players, I go, okay, this is a 5-foot spiked wall. They're like, okay, 5 feet. We can jump 5 feet. I don't know if you guys actually know how high 5 feet is. If you're around 5 feet, you know. If you're above it, you're probably thinking that's short because, like, if you're like, let's say 5'10", it's like, how tall are you, Bacon?
Actually.
Yeah, yeah. So you're probably like, I can look over it. Well, 5 feet's quite high up. And using the rules for height, and if you're doing a running jump, it's a DC 22 to clear a 5 foot height because you have to do pretty much a 5 foot high jump because you have to jump over it. There's a reason why it pole vaulting is it pole vaulting? Yeah. Well,
Pole
this
vaulting,
yeah
yeah.
pole vaulting. Whereas like those Olympic sports where you have to jump over things, why it's considered an Olympic sport? Because it's not easy. It's not something everyone can do. You can assume you can do it, but the amount of people who try and fail on an Olympic level is a lot. So it's something that don't take it lightly. 5 feet may not seem very high, but it can. I can't clear a 5 foot jump. I know I can't clear a 5 foot jump. I probably can't even jump a length of 5 feet, let alone 5 feet high. So at DC 22, that's not as high as it could be. So like when players go, okay, we gotta jump it. It's like the only reason you're making it pass is because you're literally barely failing the DC. So you're pretty much parts of your legs are hitting the spikes on the wall, causing you to somewhat fall over. Because getting a 20 or a 21 on a DC 22 technically is supposed to mean you failed to do the jump. Being nice is your feet or your chins are hitting the top part. So because you're not quite making the distance. Yeah, I've gotten into arguments with people over jumps like that because they assume that it's stupid easy because the game rules don't necessarily always reflect real life. But it's never the people who actually try to use, well, in real life, jumping over a foot high thing or pretty much stepping over a 2 foot gap. You don't need to jump. They're like, you don't need to jump that. You can step that. It's not really those people. It's always the people going, well, the DC should be super low because my character's this height, so I should be able to easily, without problems, clearing this height. It's like, we're not talking about like a couple inches here. It's like, it's a 5 foot wall. It doesn't matter that the fact your character's 6'1", and you can look over it. You still have you still have to make that jump. So all your height does is limit pretty much how high or how far you can actually jump.